Free agency is right around the corner, and that means we need to discuss potential Bengals targets. Yes, the Bengals are going to look much, much different next year with some free agents set to sign elsewhere, but who could they bring in? We'll discuss that next right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to CBT. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com. With free agency just, a few days away, the legal tampering period just a few days away, I thought it made sense to discuss potential free agents that I would target, guys that could bolster the trenches or help this Bengals team get over the hump. And that's what you're looking for if you're the Bengals, guys that can help you get over the hump. And we will do that. I'm also going to tell you about a new partnership that I'm really, really excited about, and I'll do that in just a second. But let's dive into some of these free agents. And I promise not to spend the entire time on the offensive line. But to me, the right tackle spot, they have to solve it. And that doesn't mean that you can't draft a tackle early. The Bengals, long-term, have two holes at tackle. Jonah Williams has one more year left on his contract since they exercised that fifth-year option last year. And outside of that, there's no really long-term solution on the roster at either spot with La'el Collins' status up in the air after suffering that torn ACL on Christmas Eve. So what does that mean? That means, one, find a right tackle for now. And that doesn't prevent you from drafting a tackle with the 28th pick or the 60th pick or the 92nd pick or on day 3 of the draft. It doesn't. But what it does is it gives you a known commodity that can help keep Joe Burrow upright and help this team win a Super Bowl, which is the ultimate goal and should absolutely be what their line of thinking is going into the 2023 campaign, going into free agency. So who could that be? Well, if everything was perfect, I would say Jawaan Taylor. Jawaan Taylor is 26 years old. He's played a ton of games. He showed he's durable. He's been a really important piece of the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line, and he could come in and give you high-end, or close to it, pass blocking ability at the right tackle spot. The problem is there's speculation that he could make $16, $17, $18 million a year in a weak right tackle class. So I don't think Jawaan Taylor's realistic, so I'm not going to do much besides name him. Mike McGlinchey, the Bengals liked him pre-draft. I like the idea of him. I also think the Bengals would look at him and say, all right, he weighs 310. He's sort of a Jonah Williams clone on the right side, former first rounder, top 10 pick. And, Jonah was 11th. So top 11 like Jonah has been good, not great. And so I don't think that they would go all in on him either. So who could it be? I think Caleb McGarry makes some sense, 28 years old, coming off of the best year of his career. And yeah, he might not be the best pass blocker in the world, but I think he's a competent pass blocker, has gotten better each year there, and he might not break the bank. And I think that's where the Bengals are going to play. If they're going to play in the free agent sandbox this year, who's not going to break the bank because they know their top guys are going to. Joe Burrow is going to. Jamar Chase in a year or two is going to. Logan Wilson is going to cost. Obviously, T. Higgins is going to cost as well. And so the Bengals, they need guys that could supplement their core. And they're obviously going to have to build this offensive line long-term through the draft. But who's the Alex Kappa equivalent? Can you find an Alex Kappa at right tackle in this class? I think Caleb McGarry could certainly be that. Other guys that would make some sense at right tackle. And again, that is my biggest priority if I'm the Bengals. Find a right tackle that gives you, that raises your floor as an offensive line, because you don't want to be forced to take one at 28 if the right guy isn't there. I would love the idea of taking DeJuan Jones from Ohio State. He has a top 30 visit with the Bengals. The idea of taking Darnell Wright from Tennessee, who to me has really emerged, or Anton Harrison. I love the idea. What if those guys aren't there? Or what if the Bengals don't like one of them for some reason, and instead Bijan Robinson's there, and I've done a video on that, or insert whoever's there who's really, really high on their board, a cornerback, Clancy from Pittsburgh, right? You don't want to pass on the best player available to reach for a need. So fill that need. Other guys that could do that. Isaiah Wynn, I think, is quite interesting. He was fun pre-draft, and he's dealt with some injuries for the Patriots, but I think that when healthy, he's a decent option, but he's had injury issues, so I don't think the Bengals would be in on him. Kelvin Beachum, I like the idea. He's 34. The Bengals don't have a 34-year-old on the roster. They don't. It was Clark Harris and Kevin Huber last year. They do not. In fact, if you're my age, 31, you're aged out in this Bengals roster and the way they do things a bit. They're trying to go young. Andrew Wiley from the Chiefs, maybe, but he's 29. He would be, an interesting name there. Jermaine Illuminor is a popular one, also 29 years old. We'll see on him, but certainly a popular one on the internet. But my point is all of those guys would be in the mix for me. And it really just comes down to what the Bengals are looking for. I want to dive into some other positions, but you got to find a right tackle. Have to. And maybe it's a guy who can swing to both sides, play left and right tackle. That's great. I don't care about that. That's awesome. Maybe Jackson Carman serves as that swing tackle. But find a guy that could be your day one right tackle. But might not necessarily have to be. And if you go out and you do make a big splash and go after a Caleb McGarry or a Jawan Taylor or Mike McGlinchey or, all these different guys, and I'm just looking at my list here, well, then of course they're going to start. But if you go after a Luminor, Wiley, Fleming, maybe not. Maybe those guys are battling for that starting job with a first rounder, which is fine with me. I am really excited, though, and I want to dive into these other positions to tell you about Yusul. I've partnered with Yusul, and what is that? Well, I like to stay in shape, and with a newborn, I'm not going to be able to get to the gym as much as I used to. And Yusul bikes, they sent me a G1 Max bike that has just, well, it's changed the way I work out. It's changed the way I've been able to stay in shape, especially in the off season. Like I said, it's going to help me in season. And really, the Yusul G1 Max Elephant is the best bike I've ever ridden. And it's awesome. You're talking about a nice, crystal clear HD 32-inch screen. You're talking about all these different settings. You can stream YouTube or Netflix or obviously use their app, which is awesome. They have all these different workouts, and it's not just bike workouts. You can flip the screen and work out separately and do, body workouts where you're doing, strengthening and doing all of those things. I love it. I'm so excited to have partnered with Yusul, and I'm going to show you the bike in a separate video. But right now, if you click the link in the description, and we'll throw it right here in the video, and use promo code BENGALS10, you'll get 10% off. This is a state-of-the-art bike at an affordable price, and that's why I love it, because it's affordable. You're not sacrificing quality or anything of that nature during your workouts, but you're also saving and not breaking the bank and taking out a second mortgage to get a quality fitness bike. It's Yusul. And it's the G1 Max Elephant bike. Like I said, really excited about them. And again, use code BENGALS10 to get 10% off today. I think this Bengals team is going to add some free agents and some other names that come to mind. Juan Thornhill is an interesting one. Jessie Bates is leaving. Breaking news. Will Vonn Bell also leave? Will he get another deal elsewhere? If that's the case, Juan Thornhill is a guy that could certainly be on the Bengals' radar. So we'll see on him. I think that would give the Bengals the ability to use Dax Hill all over the field and more flexibility than maybe a Vonn Bell who plays in the box more. With Dax, he can play in the box. He can play free. He can move all over, play in the nickel. And so he's got that versatility. Maybe you want to get a guy who's more of a free-ranging deep safety like Juan Thornhill. Another guy is John Johnson III. If you're looking for a straight-up Vonn Bell replacement, someone that can play in the box, which the Browns didn't use him this way, but that's also why he was cut after 2 years. They used him the wrong way. That's why they're in on Bates. They want this free-ranging safety. Sounds good. Let's bring this box safety in who has something to prove that could certainly help on defense. I know that sounds weird, but the Browns just didn't use him correctly, and all you have to do is call Sean McVay and ask how the Rams used him, and obviously Zach Taylor is familiar with Sean McVay, and they've worked together before. So those are some safeties that I think that the Bengals could be interested in. We'll see, but they could swim in those waters. I think ideally in their heads they would love to keep Vonn Bell, and rightfully so. I don't think they'll be obviously in the guard market much. It just doesn't make sense. I think they really like Cordell Volson. There's been some speculation about that. I don't see that. Punter, it's kind of funny because punter's in need. I don't think they'll go out and sign a punter right now in just looking. Could you go after one of these proven guys? I guess so. But, you look for it in the draft and maybe as an undrafted free agent. So we'll see there. Left tackle, I don't foresee it, but I do think that the Taylor Lewan one is interesting if he just kind of hangs out there. So I'll mention that pre-free agency. I do think that there is a path, might not be likely, but a path for that one to happen. Interior defensive line is a need. I don't think that they're going to spend at that spot. I think they're going to try to find that in the draft because Trey Hendrickson, big money contract. DJ Reader, big money contract. And probably want to keep both of those guys for the foreseeable future. Reader entering the last year of his deal. You obviously paid BJ Hill. You paid Sam Hubbard. So to me, it's hard to envision them spending even more money at that spot. Cornerback is interesting because obviously they've had a lot of luck and hit on some top-tier quarterbacks. Jamel Dean is going to command too much money. Byron Murphy, probably too much money. Not probably. He's going to command a ton of money. Can they find the next Eli Apple? The next under-the-radar top pick? Could Shaquille Griffin be a guy that, from the Jaguars? He was cut, but he was a top signee a few years ago. Could he be someone that the Bengals are interested in? Wouldn't hurt and count against their compensatory pick formula, so that one's interesting. I think Mike Hughes of the Lions is interesting, former first rounder. So we'll see there, but I could see them adding a free agent for sure at that spot. Outside of that, could you see them maybe adding a receiver? Maybe, but it's tough because there aren't many in this class, and I think like the McCole Hartman type guys, they're going to get more than they deserve because it is a weaker class. And so if someone's just hanging out there, a speed deep threat, maybe a Paris Campbell's just hanging there, maybe they go after him. But to me, I think that's unlikely at least at this stage. Linebacker, probably the same thing. I don't really think that they'll go that route and add anyone, even if they let Jermaine Pratt walk. Tight end's interesting. Hayden Hurst, what does he get? Where would they pivot? I think Irv Smith Jr. is interesting coming off of the injury. Outside of that, there isn't much. Could they be in on one of these guys? Maybe. But I think if they lose Hurst, they might also just say, all right, we'll sign Drew Sample to a 1-year deal where he gives you that blocking element and re-sign him. And then we'll also draft a tight end or two. I've been on this double dip tight ends. I could certainly see that being the case, them double dipping in the draft and adding a couple of tight ends. So we'll see there. Cameron Brate is also an interesting one. He's a little older, 32, but maybe they could go that route. So tight end, we'll see. But I just think it's such a deep, deep class of tight ends in the draft that they might also say, we can fix this issue with some young guys. And look, this Bengals team is it's in an interesting spot. One receiver I will mention that I would be interested in, Scotty Miller, the little speedster from Tampa Bay, has that long speed, has that deep speed, played in big games, 26 years old, and just one of those guys that has played in big games that you probably could get for around a league minimum deal because he wants to keep chasing rings and competing at a high level, and who doesn't want to catch passes from Joe Burrow. So we will see. But I'm excited for free agency, and we are going to cover it every single step of the way. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. I went way long on this video, but I hope you enjoyed it. Also, check out the link for Yasul, the G1 Max Elephant bike. It has been a game changer. I love it. You will too. Click the link. Use promo code BENGALS10 to get 10% off today. So for Andrew Fox Miller, our channel coordinator, I'm James Rapien, signing off for now on CBT. Break out the hats, baby. Free agency is almost here. Cincinnati Bengals talk.